But in terms of sorting out racism, there's no end in sight in terms of how we're going to end this problem. So would you be open to like forming a coalition of players to like come together, have meetings and try and stamp this out?
Hello listeners and welcome back to another episode of the Beautiful Game podcast. I'm with my right hand man, although he's sitting on my left edge. What are you saying to me, brother?
I'm good, bro. We've made the pilgrimage to Hull today, you know, grinding. As we've always said, like anywhere we need to travel to record content, we're down for that. So I'm very, very happy, and we've got a special guest.
Nah, definitely. We had to cross the Humber Bridge, even though I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Meant to, you know, tap and pay with a card, but we took the wrong lane. So obviously we got to do it online, but yeah, we'll leave that to another day. But yeah, before I introduce our guests, I just want to plug the socials. Follow our TikTok at TBGPod, our Instagram at pod_TBG, and our Twitter at podcast_TBG. Also, leave a like on this video and leave a comment because that helps us, you know, with the algorithm. And the bigger the channel gets, the more, you know, guests we can get onto the platform. So we're delighted to announce we are joined with Cyrus Christie.
Big up, big up, big up. Love, love,
Thank you
love.
for having me. Thank you for travelling up.
No worries, my bro. We've been speaking for a while and messaging each other, and you've always said that. Listen, timing's key, and obviously timing's now. So love for coming on, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
No, definitely. So I think in terms of starting this one, just talk to us about growing up. How was it growing up? What makes you Cyrus Christie?
Tough start. Yeah, man, just growing up, obviously it was my mum and my dad, and then I have my sister. Obviously I've got two other siblings. Obviously they got different mums. And we obviously grew up in quite a rough neighbourhood, obviously in Coventry. And I just, football. I was always into sports. My sister, obviously, my dad was sporty. My mum was sporty as well. My dad was a boxer. Obviously, he could have been a good boxer, but you know, he chose the other life. So, yeah, we grew up like tough. People around, not much money around, poverty. So you know, he was always struggling in that house. They split up. So yeah, it was very indifferent. I was then started living with my nan and granddad and stuff, different family members. But like I said, football was always a thing that I got drawn into as athletics, boxing. And it was just that I went up the park, the common, however you want to call it, and there was a team there, and I just joined in, and they tried to put me in goal. I didn't like it, but I remember they tried mocking me because I didn't have boots. I was in trainers. Okay. But even then, I hadn't even played in the team, but I kind of knew I was better than them, and then I managed to get out, show them, and then they signed me then, and then kind of never really looked back. I just used to love playing football, any kind of sport. Obviously, I had people pushing me. My granddad was a massive influence. My dad was a massive influence in different ways. My mum, family, always supporting me. So, yeah, like I said, I think from the get-go, I was always surrounded by good people, even though I grew up in a tough place and in a rough neighborhood. But the people around me, I think they always knew the vision of what people wanted to do and what they wanted to achieve. So it wasn't like they tried to draw you into anything bad or nothing like that. So, but yeah, it was just Sunday league into the academy. And then from then it was just, year by year. Do you know what I mean? But when you think about it now, it's different. Like I look back and it's mad. Like, but back then you just didn't think about anything. You know, getting the end of the year, you have your little report and with the managers like you're in school and stuff. But yeah, just from then, and it just, I just carried on. I had the decision to make whether to carry on boxing or football. I think I chose right in the end.
Yeah, man, boxing's brutal, man. Brutal sport, man.
Yeah, I don't fancy putting my head punched in. But, so yeah, that's what I went with, man. And then, here I am now. So I think what now? looking at 20, 24, 25 years since I probably first started playing for a team. So it's been a journey, man.
Yeah, you were talking about your dad being an influence on you, and obviously we're from South London, and obviously we've been or seen that environment, been in and around it. So was your dad sort of like, listen, obviously I'm doing what I'm doing, but listen, you're my son, I want the best for you. I'm living that life, but it's not for you. Pursue your dreams. Like this life here, it leads nowhere, kind of thing.
Yeah, like 100%. Like my relationship with my dad at times has been sticky. Obviously, like I said, we didn't really live with him, so I can't remember how old I was when they split up. So it was obviously my mum, and like I said, my granddad was at every game. He'd take me to training sessions. So it was like learning from two different people in that sense. So obviously my granddad was like a great man, wonderful man, and has done so much for me. But then obviously there's also my dad with maybe a different technique, however you want to call it, and he had different knowledge and different things. So like I said, him growing up, there was 6 brothers and they all had to box. Do you know what I mean? They grew up in a racist time as well, where they had to fight a lot of people, and so I learned different aspects, and I think I took a lot from his mentality towards things. You know, I think he's probably like I've said before, I think he's probably mentally the most strongest person I've met for what he's had to deal with in his life and what he's been through. So I always think to myself, I can take things from a lot of different people, and I think that's what's been good over myself and my career, that I've always thought that there's always something to learn from different people, irrespective of what position they're in and what they're going through, that I can take on, even if I'm not going through it. But if that was to happen to me, then I know that if someone's been through that, I can learn from each and everyone's experience, definitely.
No, definitely hear that. So obviously going into the season so far, I would say whole and mid-table, mid-table. What would you say the ambitions are for the rest of the season?
I think the ambition is still to just get promoted. You have to aim high. There's no reason why you want to stick in mid-table and be safe and avoid relegation. I think with the owner, the people we have in this club, the manager, the players, there's no reason why that we can't look up and push on towards them promotion playoff spots. And I think you can see from this year the league is super tight.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
I think like Burnley, obviously they're kind of running away with it. Obviously a very good team. You know, they've had a lot of investment this year, a great manager, and you know, so they're kind of running away with it. You look at Middlesbrough now, who I think they're catching up on Sheffield United. So and they was in the relegation zone not long ago, I think, when he took over. So I think there's no reason why we can't be one of them teams that get them to the playoffs.
So is it kind of like you are looking at the league like, okay, Burnley, they're gone. And then it's like Sheffield United, that's possible.
Yeah, for me, like you look at Burnley and I think I've been in the game long enough to know that like when you see teams, what they're doing, they're winning, and then like the other day they get the last minute goal. I think they win 1-0. Yeah. Them little moments,
scored.
Like them little moments they're what get you promoted. Do you know what I mean? And they've got that big enough gap. They're comfy. Do you know what I mean? But like I don't know what it is now with Sheffield. How many points they are behind Burnley?
It's getting there's a gap now. There's becoming a gap.
Yeah.
Starting to,
even then, there's a couple of teams that are going under the radar, like Millwall. They beat Sheffield yesterday. They're going on like. To be honest, I didn't even know they was up there. You know, because like them ones
teams just come from nowhere. You win 2 or 3 in a row, then you're there.
But even in like the media, you're not really hearing about them. So it's like I think sometimes that can be a blessing as well. So yeah, there's some good teams up there, but there's, like I said, there's no reason why we shouldn't be up there. We just got to have that more belief and go for it. And like since the gaffers come in, we've done really well. I think obviously recently there's a few results that where you look back and it could have been better, and if that happened, we'd be higher at the table. But you know, every game in the championship's tough. Yes. So you know, as long as we can take care of what we can do, then there's no reason why we shouldn't look up to that. And you know, you don't want to be at the end of the season and just be there. Do you know what I mean? Just
you don't want to just be mid-table.
Yeah, you want to keep fighting for something. So yeah, man, we just got to keep pushing.
Yeah, so like I would say Hull are probably like the Nottingham Forest of the Championship in terms of the changes that were made in the summer and in January. So like for you personally joining the club, because I know there was a period where you left Fulham, you were a free agent, you hadn't signed, you were training by yourself for a while. So why did you pick Hull over the other options that you had?
You know what? Obviously, I knew I was leaving Fulham at the end of that season. And then just in football, everything takes so long to do, man. It takes time, and you know what? It was nice to have a rest. I'm not gonna lie, just to obviously, so yeah, like obviously that time period I was off, I think it was 3 months, maybe. You know, obviously the days go by, and then it gets to a point where right now, let me start checking the phone, let me see what's going on, and I was having conversations with like clubs and other people, and things were nearly done, and then it was falling through like last minute, and it was just it was like a nightmare, and then obviously I remained positive, and then I carried on, and I was still having like the other conversations with clubs, and you can have the conversation with the club, but then you might not hear from them for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it then goes from 0 to 100, and you know, I spoke with Hall and different things like that, and then I spoke with the chief exec Tan, and then had the conversation with them, spoke with someone else in the club, and the way they spoke was great, man. You know, it was really good, and then obviously Mika was there, Siri, so I knew what kind of a player he was. And I seen that they'd made some good signings, and then they started the season well, and you know, and then obviously when you start seeing that, it obviously starts changing your mind on different things. So yeah, like I was ready, but it was just it was a crazy time, to be honest. I've been in that situation before, but I was a lot younger than when I left Coventry on a free, so it was a bit of a different one to deal with. But like I said, there was so many things where I was on the way to go do medicals, and it was.
So was Preston one of the teams? Because I saw them like
that was crazy. I was on international break.
Yeah,
one of the boys plays for Preston. He was like, "Oh," and then I was getting messages, people saying, "Congrats, you signed for Preston." I never spoke to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that was.
So it was just like wild. I don't know where it come from. Come out of nowhere. And then I started getting messages about. I think their manager said something about he done some mad comment about characters or something. He doesn't want twats or something like that in his team. And I was getting messy. It must have been about me, but I'd never spoke to them. So, I don't even know where that came from.
So what teams were like their sort of concrete interest in? I know you spent last season on loan at Swansea. Yeah. You had a mad run, like your goal involvements were crazy. Scoring bangers and that. So what teams? Yeah,
like there was a few. So I spoke to some teams in Italy, Turkey, couple in the Prem as well, and a few topping like the Champ. And they was perfect because I wouldn't have had to move. So obviously I was settled in. Obviously I'm settled in Surrey and that. So obviously with the baby and stuff and the missus being from there, it was some of them were going to be handy, but you know, and then it all comes with the rumours about money and blah blah, and it's like for me it was never about the money. It wasn't anything about that, because what I realised over the last year when I not left Fulham, but when I went to Swansea and places like that, it gave me the enjoyment and love for football again. So it weren't me trying to get money or blah. I wanted to just go somewhere I was happy, where the fans appreciated me, where the ethics and the vibe and everything fitted, do you know what I mean? Where I could be at my best and I could be my happiest self when I could perform and do what I'm doing. Because I've touched on it before, like I said, at Fulham, I lost myself, man, for a bit, the way things had happened, the way things were going, the way I got treated at certain aspects, and I allowed too many people. I think, like I said, too many people, I was allowing them to dictate how I felt, and it was like I was disappointed in myself that I let that happen. But it's a learning process, and that was really for me over in the summer. It was more, I wanted to go somewhere where I would fit, and it would fit how I believe things should be, and where the fans, like I said, can take to me, and the manager, the club, where they love you. And man, I think Hall it fell into place, man. It was the right thing, because funnily enough, the manager tried to sign me for Derby. He tried to ring me to get me to come in. So and then he's ended up here, man. So
that's refreshing to hear, because obviously I know you're at the young old age of 30, and like you hear in the media, players are like, okay, I'm 30 now. Yeah, this is potentially my last big contract. So not I'm cashing out, but listen, the financial element needs to be calm. And for you to just say, no, listen, it's football. I just want to enjoy my craft. It's a short career. You need to be enjoying it. No, big up to you, bro.
Of course. You know, don't get me wrong, there's going to be like that financial element as well. Like, when I did have conversation with clubs, it's like, all right, listen, there's still a value that I have on myself, but we're not talking behind, like, let's discuss, because like I said, I just wanted to be happy, man.
Was Swansea one of those clubs? Because I know apparently you had a mad run, and obviously like it's natural for them to think, you know what, you were solid for us, you performed, we want to keep you on a permanent, but weren't the numbers stacking up?
Yeah, like I said, Swansea, I went there, and I've got 3 goals, 5, 6 assists, like in 20, 22 games, whatever it was, and I was loving it there, man. I enjoyed it. It was, like I said, it made me change the way I was thinking at that time, how I'd been for maybe the last few years, and how it is to go into a club where the fans actually like love you and they take to you, and the manager and whoever it was from like day one. So I felt that love. But yeah, man, Swansea said to me they wanted to sign me like after like a few games, and I was up for it. I was like, yeah, like let's talk. And then quiet, nothing was happening. Yeah, nothing was happening. But in my head, to be honest, I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna come back. Like my missus loved it, the baby loved it there on the beach and stuff, man. It's nice, you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, like I'm in my head, I'm just thinking Swansea, like nothing of it. And then get to the end of the season, and yeah, man, before the last year, managers like owners don't want to sign you, they're too old.
Too old?
Yeah, one of them was like
that.
too old. The other one wanted to sign me. To be fair, he was like, but they're like, there's no value.
That's almost like
ages.
I'm
like looking like at the time I'm 29. Do you know what I mean? Like I ain't hit the 30 mark at this point, but yeah, I was kind of a bit baffled, and I was like, all right, fair enough. And then you know, in my head, I'm thinking, all right, do I even play the last game of the season? Do you know what I mean?
Okay, what? Because you felt like disrespected, so to speak.
Yeah, like, but then I'm thinking, well, why should I risk myself? For you, like, you don't know me. But then, like, I didn't want to disrespect the manager or the fans because they're taken to me, and the manager had been unbelievable with me as well. Like, so yeah, played that last game, and then I thought, you know what, like, let's talk over the summer still, and yeah, I spoke to him, and the owner was like, nah. Like, there's no value. And
he said that to you directly, or was that through like your intermediary or something?
He said that to my agent. And and then I spoke with the manager, and he went like, listen, I can't offer you nothing. And I said, okay. Then I had to like move on, and then then at the end of that season, I spoke to some other clubs. I was waiting on them, and some of these foreign clubs, though, they want to do it there and then. Like, it's crazy. Like, you're asking me to move country in 5 minutes. Like, I'm like, bro, I've got people to speak to.
Yeah, my kid, got my wife, I need to talk.
Yeah, like, they're like, well, we need an answer, yes or no, by the end of the day. I'm like, nah, it takes more time than that. So, yeah, man, I didn't want to rush into anything, and just I had to stay patient. But yeah, like I said, I loved it at Swansea, man. It was such a good place. The people, everything was just right, and it was the right moment, right time to go there, and it all worked out like perfectly, really. And then now I've got the same similarities with Hull, I feel. So yeah, it was. I don't know, divine intervention. I don't know how you want to put it, man. But yeah, it's everything felt right.
You know what's mad? I'm a bit confused because, in fact, maybe it's my lack of football knowledge. It may be, but like you said, you knew you was leaving Fulham. Like, what do you mean by that? Did the club tell you that, or like what happened?
You know what? When we got promoted the second time after COVID, and we gone up, and then I went to Forest. So like it was crazy. Obviously they were talking to me, and then I was meant to get a new deal. And then out of next nowhere, like 2 right backs are signing.
Ola Aina and Tete.
And Tete.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, the conversation.
So was it still like verbally agreed kind of thing? Like,
yeah, they were like, come in on the Monday, blah blah. We had a good conversation. They were like, yeah, and then 2, and they were like, oh, you need to go Forest on loan.
You need to, or we've got an offer from Forest to go.
Like, you have to go. So I'm like, in the space of 24, 48 hours, like what's happened? Do you know what I mean? I'm outside the training ground now, so we have to do the COVID test. So like you're queuing up, and then I get the phone call. I'm about to come in the training ground, and I was like, oh, he's like, yeah, you need to go to Forest.
Is this the manager or?
It's my agent at the time, but then I go in and speak to the manager, and the manager's like, yeah, I think it's best that you go. Like he's like, oh, blah blah blah. I wanted one. I was understandable, like, you know what I mean. You usually have competition for thingy, but then I was like, yeah, 2's a bit, it's wild. So like. And I'm thinking, well, you must have knew over that time period when you spoke to me, because the conversation was different. And yeah, man, like my head was just gone. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I just felt it was a bit muggy, to be honest, the way it was handled. Like, and for me as a player, like I always say, like when I've had issues with man, like, well, I'm a big man. Do you know what I mean? I can handle it. Like, if you want to be honest with me, just be honest. Like, I can take it, because that's football. That's the nature of the game. Like, but when things like that happen, that's what annoys me, because you could have just told me there and then, and I don't understand the reasonings behind it and everything.
So what were the reasonings? Because we speak to footballers and their
that's why I didn't get a reason.
So still now,
like there was no reasoning for it. Like I didn't understand it. Like they didn't really give me anything. It was just, you should go Forest. It's a good club. Blah blah.
So when you're seeing in the press that Fulham signed Ola Aina on loan from Torino, Fulham signed Tete from whatever club he was in, are you sort of saying the writing's on the wall, or you're thinking, no, calm, like this is football, we're in the Prem now, I expect competition?
No, when it's 2, it's different. Do you know what I mean? Because usually it's like, it's like you have 2 for each position. Do you know what I mean? In the squad. So when I see Nathan and the two coming in, it was just like, okay, great, like, they're good players. Do you know what I mean? Teddy, unbelievable.
Yeah, he's on form this season.
But you could see that. But do you know what I mean? It was one of them, and it was like, okay, all right, fair enough. But it was more the honesty, like the aspect of that, really. So yeah, like, but at the moment in time, I think what was worse for me is that, like, I thought that I'd played well that season, I'd done well, and obviously before that it'd been a bit hit and miss. Do you know what I mean? I was in for like one game, out for a few, and I felt like I'd come over a lot of obstacles and was doing well and got myself into a good place. In a way, I thought I was coming back. Like I said, they were saying you're coming back to play and you're going to be involved. And then, like I said, in that 48 hours, it all changed, man. It was just crazy. And I'm like, yeah.
But what's your take on like clubs like almost using players? Okay, you're excellent in the Championship. Get promoted to the Premier League. All right, thanks. That's your services done. Bye bye. Like, what's your take on that? I don't understand it, to be fair. Do you think that's a thing in football, kind of?
Yeah, it definitely is. I feel like at Fulham, like the first couple times that there was no trust in the boys that got promoted, and I think a lot of the boys knew that. Okay. So then, when we come back, they got relegated the second time. When I was at Forest, we come back. A lot of the boys were now coming back, and obviously, probably that's why Scotty probably had to go as well, because you've just binned off a lot of people. Now you're asking them to do it again for the third time. Yeah. There's that element as well. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's tough. Like, you can obviously understand because they want to bring in obviously quality. People that have quality or whatever. But how do you know them people aren't going to thrive when they go up? You see it so many times with other teams. You look at Sheffield when they went up. They stuck with their players. They done really well. This time,
look at Mitrovic.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example.
But now you look at Marco Silva this year with Fulham. He's stuck with a lot of the boys. Do you know what I mean? And then he's added that small bit of different quality, and now they're thriving. They're 6th in the league. I think that's where before it went wrong. And as a player, you can see that. Like, you feel like they don't have confidence in you. And it's not a great thing.
So what's the signs of feeling that they don't have confidence in you then?
I don't know. Sometimes you can just gauge it, like, by the way they speak to you, or like the training session, them obviously bringing in other people, the opportunities that you don't get. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just pick up on like the vibe and that, and then from the off, like things from the outside as well, you see and that, and it's just like, I don't know. It's hard to like pick up on. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes when you're just in the environment, you pick up on it. But you only got to look at some of the players now. You look at Tim Ream.
Yeah, he's
thriving.
Doing his thing. He's like 30, like mid-30.
35, I think. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like having probably one of the best careers of his, best periods of his life. Like, do you know what I mean? Like at 35, but that's from people having the confidence, and he's got the confidence in himself. Don't get me wrong, but he's got a manager that's believing in him. He's got the fans believing in him, and then the whole team's believing in themselves as well. Like, don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, and that's what it can do for you. So when people say about age and all this, football is about opportunity, man. I speak with some of the young boys here, Mika, we say football's opportunity, right place, right time. Do you know what I mean? Things can be different, but yeah, man, that's what it's about, really. Like I said, you pick up on things, and football, man, it's a crazy game.
There was a nucleus of players that I think maybe Tom Kearney, Big Heck, yourself, people that sort of just frozen out. You guys sort of have a conversation like, listen, like, we've worked so hard to get this opportunity. That's like in careers, you work towards progression. Okay, tick the box of Championship, I performed. Premier League, we're getting cast aside with no reason. Do you have those conversations like, this is a joke, or is it just, this is football?
Sometimes it's just, this is football. Do you know what I mean? Like, people obviously understand the things that go on and whatever not. We never really sat there and like, oh yeah, fucking hell. I mean, do you know what I mean? It wasn't really like one of them, but like, you can understand, and then you can see the frustration from some of the boys, because like I said, you've worked so hard to get there, and then you think your opportunity's coming, and you feel in a good place, and all of a sudden you're just shut down. Do you know what I mean? So you've gone from feeling up there to now you're down here, and like I said, for some people are just comfortable with that. I'm more than happy to just be a bit part player, and it's like crazy. Like, people say, oh yeah, you've been at so and so club and this club, and it's like, bro, I'm not gonna sit around and waste my time and waste my life and career, so I can sit there and pick up my money and do what? Because either way, you're doomed if you do. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna hammer you for sitting on the bench or waiting around or not even being in a squad. He's just picking up his money. But then you go to it's like, oh yeah, well, more clubs than Tiger or whatever. You know what I mean? You know that crap banter that they want to come with, like. So
okay, so who says that in football or media? Is that
fans?
Fans,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Okay.
well, what do you want me to do? You want me to sit there and then you can cuss me for sitting there and picking, not doing nothing? Do you know what I mean? Or I want to go play. That's what my goal was. Yeah. And obviously, like I said, most people they want to get to the Premier League and you want to show yourself and you want to prove yourself in the top league. And like I said, when you ain't got an opportunity, you have to look for the opportunities elsewhere, man. But like I said, some people are happy to just sit there and be fine with it. But for me, that's not me, man. I want to be enjoying it and I want to go out there and prove myself. And like I said, you want to get to the top of the game and be at the pinnacle. And like I said, I might be 30, but I know in myself how my body feels, and my body feels good.
Young, bro.
But like, I say to people, look at my career, man. When was the last time I was injured? Do you know what I mean? Derby was my last time I got injured, and that was like a bit of a freak one, to be honest. Like, so I keep myself fit, I keep myself in check, I look after myself. So yeah, I know that I've got a lot left in me, and I've got a lot left to achieve. And like I said, with this manager now as well, that I've got. Like, he knows that because he got to the Prem at 31, 32 with Brighton, and then he finished his career there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, same position, right? Was he?
Same position, yeah, right. But I played against him and that. So it's crazy, man. So, yeah, man, you just got to keep believing, man.
And you've tasted it as well. You played in the Prem. So how was that experience? Like, you've hit the pinnacle.
Yeah, for me, like, it was good, man. It was a good learning. It was a good opportunity, good learning thing, but... it was so much chopping and changing going on that year. Like, it was tough. And obviously in the Premier League, every shot is just like any mistake. It's like it's in the back of the net, yeah. Like, you get punished like quick. Like in the Championship sometimes they don't put it, you get away with it. So like you kind of take a few liberties, but yeah, in the Prem, man. But like that year was tough for me because it was like I'd play one game and then I'd come out for 4 or 5. So there was no real ever, and I feel like that's what summed up my Fulham career, really, to be honest. There was never any consistency, and I always come into a tough environment because they love Fredo. Do you know what I mean? When I come in, and obviously when they signed me, it was
Fredo, Ryan Fredericks.
Fredo was obviously meant to be going. So, and then obviously he didn't go. So then it was like stop and start for me. Do you know what I mean? Because at Middlesbrough I was flying, and then Pulis come in, and then that was obviously a whole different.
Well, he wanted to play like centre backs, full backs.
Yeah, so he put Shot on. Shot had been playing centre half next to me. Then he told me I was too small to play right back. Yeah. So like, yeah, man, it was crazy.
That's like typical Pulis.
6'2". Yeah, 6'2". Yeah. So then he told me I was too small. So then like, but I'd gone there and signed a 5-year deal. Do you know what I mean? So it was. So I was gonna be there for the long term because I loved it there. And I was, like I said, I played every game. And then Pulis come in and just he told me I was too small. Then he said, "Do you want to play left wing?" And I was like, "Not really, to be honest. Like, that's not me." And then. But you know what, he was all right about it, like me trying to leave. Do you know what I mean? I can't say that he wasn't an arsehole about it. Sometimes managers can kick and they can do certain things, but he was all right, to be fair. Like, and it was like obviously I ended up signing same day as Mitro, deadline day. But yeah, it was always tough for me to come in, and then I think then you start getting compared to I was getting compared to Fredo and how he was because obviously the fans loved him, but. Like I said, man, comparison is a thief of joy, man.
Yeah.
So like, you weren't taking me for me and how I play. Like, I come in and then I got an assist, and then I got an assist the next game, and then it was like, all right, no, I didn't play for a couple more games, and then man, it was just.
So why were you getting brought out? Because obviously, when you get taken out of the team, any explanation? Are you playing? Okay, this is what I want from my fullback, or you're not?
No, I wasn't. It wasn't really getting any explanation. It was just the team was named, and then that was it. Like no one was really saying nothing, and then. But it was like the games I was coming in, it was like out of the like I'd done well in some of the games, and then it was like, all right, you want to follow that up. Do you know what I mean? And then you want to, and you're like, I'm starting to feel good, and then it's like, all right, now you're out for 3 games. Like, do you know what I mean? And then, but like, no, I was getting thrown in against like Man Cities and that.
Okay.
You don't really touch the ball. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that's always a tough game as well. And
is
like,
that almost not? I don't want to seem pessimistic. Almost being set up to fail, like a City.
Sometimes,
top of the league.
Sometimes
like,
that's how it felt to me. Like, it was like, but. Then like I'd done well, but then like I know I've done well in some of the games, but then like from out, some people are saying, "Oh, certain things." Do you know what I mean? Like, and at times I feel like I was getting blamed for a lot of stuff, and it was just like I said, it was just a strange
spell of your career,
just a
kind of thing.
Spell, like it just nothing seemed right. Do you know what I mean? It just weren't. Yeah,
nothing stuck.
Yeah.
Whereas you said Swansea, everything just felt right. Family,
everything felt good.
You play well, you're out of the team. Even there was an incident, I know, in the Championship, was away to Barnsley, where there was like a racist incident, hit your sister. So what happened there?
obviously I didn't know about it, but then obviously like it's like crazy because obviously like the reaction from it was mad. But then the weirdest thing, the guy that done it, bro, there was club people there, so they all saw it. So the people from Fulham actually saw it happen and they heard it. But they're like acting as if it was us that's when they said something, but it was the club that reported it as well. And there was people's other family members there, so there was a lot of people there.
Oh, what players? Other
family
members?
Yeah, because all the players' family, the club officials, they all sit in the same section.
Yeah.
So he done it there. Do you know what I mean?
So was it in like a hospitality section?
No. It was in the away stand.
Okay.
Yeah. It was in the away stand. So yeah, obviously then that happened, and then do you know what I mean? Like even then we didn't really want to push nothing through, but because it obviously it had got out and there was so much stuff about it, it had to basically be done because obviously there's been other incidents where I've had to go through it and it's just you don't get nothing at the end of it. It's just pointless. It just dies out. They don't really want to do nothing. And yeah, I think he got a lifetime ban in the end from Fulham, but obviously he went to the CPS.
Yeah.
And he and he was obviously not guilty or whatever, but we already know what the CPS is like. So
what's your take on that though? Because to me that sounds like a joke. Like this.
Yeah, so it's a joke. Like, but then when it turns out like the police didn't do their job properly, so they missed out a lot of like they didn't pass forward the evidence that the people had witnessed it. So yeah, that's why like Fulham had the grounds to ban him for life because they had all the thingy. There was
20. There were like gaps in the investigation where they're missing out.
Yeah.
So what? Fulham done their job, but
Fulham
the police
done their job,
didn't do their job.
Yeah. Because Fulham had all the obviously the witness statements. It was like 20 plus people heard it and saw it. So
what was actually said, if you don't mind me asking?
It was so basically apparent. So through the thing, he was saying a lot of like he'd already said a few and he'd already been told by the stewards to get removed because he'd already been racist. I don't really obviously like want to repeat some of the stuff, but yeah, like it was bad. So then,
so what is it like the N word, all of that kind of stuff, or that just remarks kind of thing?
Do you know what I mean? Like,
you know heard that one.
You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So, but bro, I'm telling you, the Fulham officials are sitting there, and they was the ones that told him like, calm. But obviously they're in there because they're fans as well.
Of course.
So they've said something to him, and the stewards haven't really like done nothing. And then at the end of the game, he was giving it out to, but it was only at the boys' origin. Do you get me? So so then obviously he was there, and my sister's like, "Oh, is it alright if you don't shout down my ear?" And he was like, "What?" And then as she turned around, he punches her in the side of the head, and then they were like, "Oh, fuck, we don't like your kind." Blah blah, you deserve it. But he's with his kids, so his kids are crying. Then his wife had something to say. He runs off. His old man's laughing. They like think it's funny, but then he's obviously got a little group of Fulham fans, and they.
What are they young guys or like older?
No, he's a grown man, bro. Like, yeah, he's early 40s, maybe late 30s. But then they're all jumping on social media, coming at me like. But then it's mad because I can't say nothing, so I'm not allowed to like interact with them.
Because the club have told you, listen, Cyrus, it's in our hands.
Yeah, so they're obviously like, oh, don't say nothing, blah blah. Like you just have to take it. But they're seeing everything. Do you know what I mean? So like, obviously all the clubs have like they have their things where they're checking the social media of the boys, and so it's like it's crazy. So yeah, they were all coming at me, and I'm like, I can't really say nothing, but they're like backing him. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, and for me, like, obviously I was so desperate. So, well, why is there 20 plus people? And the worst thing was about it, no one knew who he was. So we didn't know who he was. No one knew who he was. He handed himself in. So you're guilty. Surely, why are you handing yourself in? Because no one knew you. So we didn't know him who he was till the Monday. But straight after the game, he emailed saying, "Oh, I was involved in an incident, blah, blah, I need to speak." But by the time Monday's come, he's lawyered up. Do you know what I mean? So now he's like, "Oh, you have to speak to the lawyer." Do you know what I mean? So you clearly was guilty of something because why would you hand yourself in and no one knew who he was? So yeah, man. And then they started abusing other people. Crazy. Like they started abusing other people because they found out some of the people were witnesses. It was like, I'm just thinking like...
So witness intimidation, basically, or...
Yeah, like, they're just on social media giving it the big one, like, but there are people
so is this
that...
like in the DMs or like Instagram?
No, they're like tagging me on like Twitter and then like, Instagram, blah, blah. And then like, like it was crazy because then obviously like they're saying certain stuff and whatever and I can't respond. But then like two guys sent me a letter apologising because basically the club were banning them. So now they're like, like blah blah. They're going, I've got issues going on.
Yeah.
But they're going to me like, like blah blah, like I've got things going on. And I'm
so
like,
why
well, that don't give you the right to come to the Saturday at 3:00 and because what's happening in your, it's like it's a release for them, innit? So they think, oh, we ain't gonna get caught, but now they got caught. Now they're trying to cry. But it was funny because one of them sent a letter, like, crying his eyes out, crying on the phone, to the people. But then 3 days later, he's on giving it the big one on Twitter. Yeah, I told her to fuck off, silly bitch. Like, and I'm like, yo, like,
Oh man,
I could have easily just outed him, but like, that's not what I'm gonna do. Do you know what I mean? Like, but that sort of thing is they can hide behind their Twitter, but then it's crazy because, like I said to people before, it's like well, at some point, people are going to take it into their own hands.
Yeah, and just start.
Because what happens if someone stumbles into, do you know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, like I said, you got family members, you got friends, like people are seeing it. Yeah.
No, let's be honest. I swear from the roads.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So like,
a beating will be out.
So it's like, but then I said that to them, and they was like, well, you just get arrested straight away. And I'm like, well, why can't you arrest them straight away? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, because the week before, I had like 8 of my boys were there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it would
so
have been,
basically they kind of they done it on the right week. Basically, not that you get what I'm saying. Basically,
man,
but like
usually,
but usually I have a few people like come to the game. Do you know what I mean? So like they would have been, it would have been on smoke. Do you know what I'm saying? But like,
but knowing the type of people they are, because they would have saw that, they wouldn't have tried. You get what I'm saying?
It's the point where it's like though, but it gets to a point where they're sick of it. Because they're seeing it, so it's like worse for them because they can see it all. Like sometimes I can switch it off. Do you know what I mean? But they're like seeing it, and then your like family are seeing it, and like they're not happy. Do you know what I mean? And then like, because obviously everything they've gone through with like police and whatever, and how they've grew up and the racism and whatever not. Like I said, the people get to the point to they get sick of it. Like my dad's sick of it. Do you know what I mean? Like I got people saying, well, because like it was funny because they was on their Twitter, like like little feed and that, so they knew where they was drinking. So they were like, well, all right, well, we'll rock up and we'll see them because they've seen them on their Instagram and their Twitters and whatever not. And I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
you can't, do you know what I mean? But I already know that nothing's going to happen from it. Do you know what I mean? And do you know what, to be fair to Fulham, they were so good with it. Like, the people there, like, the way they dealt with it. So they, like, but they had it all there. So they was shocked, like, so it was crazy. But like I said, police didn't do nothing. CPS nailed it.
I was going to say that, how's the abuse today? Because I think maybe a week ago, Tony scored the equaliser against Arsenal, and then after the game you see like racial abuse, and then Brentford had to put out a statement that they're disgusted and all that kind of stuff. So in terms of like for you, because we always speak to black players and they're like, look at my Insta DMs. Look at it, I can show you right now. You'll see like 10 comments. For you, is that something you've experienced or?
Yeah, man, I experienced it for a while, man. So when I was it started, the first real like time when it went big was when I was at Middlesbrough, and I was at Ireland, so the World Cup playoffs.
Denmark.
Yeah, but previous to that, so obviously you play like it's like September, October, November, and you have the games. So September games, I was getting racial abuse, and I was just from fans, man. Like,
what fans of your own team or Ireland or other?
I different people, bro. Like Irish people, English fans, whatever it was. That might be Irish fans or they might have been whatever team we were playing. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Just ignoring it. Don't say nothing because I've already been there where it's just like you say something, it's just pointless. Every time why are you playing the victim? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like if you say that you lost the game, it's like, oh, you're just blaming that on the game. Do you know what I mean? And that was the same thing when it happened with my sister. I was like, oh, it was because you had a bad game. Do you know what I mean? Like that, all that mumble
jumble.
So so I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, so then the next month, same thing's happening. And I'm like, but at these times, some of them I ain't seeing because at the time it was getting that bad. Like someone else was doing my social media for me. And I'm like,
so you basically handed
but he was seeing when he was like, oh, listen, this is what's happening. So I wasn't seeing some of them. Obviously, I've still got the login, but I was like, I didn't really want to check, but he was showing me. And then like November come the World Cup player final. I think it was November anyway. And then obviously the own goal happened. It's like I couldn't stop the own goal. Do you know what I mean? It hit the post, hit my leg, went in. Like it was one of them, but I was the one that got the blame for everything. We like lost 5-1. Do you know what I mean? It was like one of them, but yeah. So obviously I'm angry. I don't want to come on. I don't check my phone, and then but then people were sending me messages, but I'm just like in my own little world right now, like vexed about the game. Like we're this close to the World Cup. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously them times at Ireland when we went 1-0 up, we never really lost. Do you know what I mean? Because we was a solid team. Everything just went wrong that night, and then I'm like, oh yeah. And then people come like, are you all right? yeah, well, I'm not gonna be all right. We just lost. You know what I mean? So I'm still not peeping like what people are saying on my phone. And then, yeah, man. And then I checked it, and I was like, oh Jesus, man, I didn't even see this. Like, I weren't really taking it in too much. And then, yeah, it was like, so saw that, and then I was like, oh, that's crazy. And then James McLean was the one that brought it up at like an awards ceremony, and then that's how it kind of all came out and blew up, because he said something. And then I was like, but it shouldn't take for him to say it to then go out. And I feel like that's always the case. Like, when a white person speaks up about racism, we seem to take it in more than when like the black players say it. So it was like crazy. And after that's when all the police started doing their investigation and blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, man, all right, cool. Well, the guys started a petition to have me lynched. Do you know what I mean? That's wild. And I'm like, that's crazy. And then it's like, yeah, fuck off back to Jamaica. Fuck off, you black bastard. Go back to your own country and all. I'm like, all right, well, like, what are you going to do about it? And then, like, I'm going to the people, like, I think I was at Middlesbrough at the time. I'm like, no, I don't really want to deal with it, like, because I already know that they're not going to do nothing. And he's like, yeah, well, we're gonna have to see them out and blah blah. So then I'm getting all messages from these people that, like, I think it's like Kick It Out or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Show raise whoever them authorities, and they're trying to now do interviews. And I'm like, I don't want to do an interview about it. Like, let's move on. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've got the investigation going on, but the people's faces and that are there and their names, so they have all their information. Now we're sitting there. I had to fly over to Ireland to speak to the Garda and that, and then he's like, oh yeah, found him, like, straight away. I'm like, all right, cool. They seem like they're being yeah. Like, fair enough and that. But when I'm sitting there, like, but they look like a bit of a sitcom police. Do you know what I mean? Like, they look like a joke thing. So I'm like sitting there, and then, bro, some of the questions that started coming at me, they were going like, and I was sitting there, and they went, I don't think there's a lawyer there. She meant to be on my side. So I'm like, she going, so yeah, I just can't believe that someone would say that. And I was like, all right, well, it did. Do you know what I mean? You can see that. She was like, oh, and the police going, I wouldn't believe anyone in Ireland could be racist. Come on. So I'm like, all right, cool. And then he's like, yeah, I just wouldn't. And I was like, well, you're not going to understand, are you? Because
was there anyone in the room that was of black heritage?
No. So obviously I've got my agent, I've got someone from the FAI, the lawyer, police, and I'm sitting there, and in my head I'm just thinking, bro, like, the man is saying, we don't understand how anyone could be racist. And I'm like, all right. So then I start have to reeling off stories of like what's happened in like my childhood, these different situations.
Oh my God, are they?
They're like, oh, I couldn't believe that could happen. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't think anyone would say that. And I'm like, well, it did happen. So then the next question was, all right, well, when you're walking out into the stadium in the tunnel, do you fear for your life? I said, what's that got to do with it? Like, what kind of question is that? And they went, all right, well, let me rephrase it. When you're walking out the tunnel and you're holding the mascot's hand and you get onto the pitch, do you fear for your life that someone's going to come on and kill you?
Huh?
I said, what?
Heck? What
I said,
are you thinking?
I said, irrespective of that, it happened after the game or during the game. So, like, I'm not thinking about that. They went, oh, okay. All right, so when you were asleep in the hotel before the game, do you fear for your life that when you go on the pitch that someone could actually kill you? And I was like, that's got nothing to do with what is going on. Do you know what I mean?
From another planet.
Yeah,
what
it's crazy.
Thinking?
So then after that third question, I said, you know what, wrap this up.
You told them?
Yeah. I said, I'm going. Like, I'm getting back on the flight. I'm done. Like, so then they're like, oh, okay, well, we've got these people. We've got all their stuff, blah, blah. We'll get the investigation sorted. And I just thought, I said, no, it's going to happen. And then, like, the guy from Middlesbrough that was with me as well, he was like, I've never witnessed anything like that. That was crazy. And I said, I told you before. I said, this is why I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I understand now where you're coming from. So then my dad rang, the Garda. They said, oh, like, what's the situation with, we don't have anyone that deals with that case. We don't have a department for that. And then, after that meeting, I never heard a thing. Not a peep from no one.
Basically, everyone's time to be
so they basically went for a process just out of courtesy, just tick the box.
But then I'm getting calls and like trying to do interviews. So like people that, like I said, like the show, but it wasn't like, I don't know if it's the English based, the Irish based ones, whoever it was. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do an interview. It's pointless. Like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, we've all seen what's happened. Blah blah. So then now, he's like, do you not want to do it? I said, no. So I'm getting letters. They're sending me letters saying, oh, can we please do an interview? And somehow they're getting hold of my number, messaging me. I'm ignoring everything. Then an email come through. I don't care about the situation, but we need to look like we're doing something. So
Who said that?
Yeah, they forgot to take me out the email. So the boss of the thing.
No way.
Yeah,
So
I
who,
swear to
the boss
God,
of who?
of one of these organizations for the racism thing.
So they said,
We say, we don't care about the situation. We need to get the interview, so it looks good for us.
so this was from the Irish.
This one publication, show racism was one of them.
So basically a clanger. This is a clanger.
This is a massive clanger.
Massive clanger. I said no. I said never again. So then the funny is, they tried to.
And I think this is what goes on with all of the cases.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
then
like,
they've tried to. When I'm away, Ireland, obviously got to do media duties. One of my media things come through, it's them. I said, nah, I'm not doing it. Like, and the guy knew, because obviously I've told him and he's seen it. He was in
So what was his reaction? Oh, you've just sent me.
And he's like, I've told them, like, and he showed me the emails that I've told them, but they were like, basically just desperate to try and get me on. And yeah, it was crazy. And then after that, some like Middlesbrough fans, and they was like young kids, they were in that thing, and then he's obviously calling me the M word and blah blah, and he's abusing this girl like she was a fan of mine, and he was like, he was saying mad stuff like for a kid as well. Do you know what I mean? It was crazy. So then like she's sent me them on thingy, so I retweeted it like this is the kind of stuff that happens on all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then obviously that blew up, and they were like, oh, well, why are you out? And I was like, well, if I don't out it, then like people ain't gonna know how to deal with it, and they just let it slide, and there's no consequences. And obviously, I did feel bad because like they're kids, but then at the end of the day, I'm thinking, all right, so like, what the parents,
what's to say,
like what's going on, like how do they know all this stuff, right? So then next year, obviously, I've ended up leaving Middlesbrough, so I don't know what Middlesbrough done. They were sorting it, and then I'm getting death threats now. Some guys message me, say, watch when I see you, I'm gonna stab you in your heart with a dagger. He's like, and then he's sending me a picture of 4 black people hanging from a tree. Said, this is you and your family when I see you. He kept sending it, and he was like, I can't wait to push a dagger in your heart. And that.
What do you react? Are you showing people? You're just like laughing. Like, these guys are mad.
I'm laughing. I ain't taking him serious. But I replied to him. I said, right, come, bro, come see me then. Do you know what I mean?
No, but on the road, Cyrus, like when you go outside, do you feel like, hold on, you're a bit paranoid? Not even. Okay.
By the way, this is not funny, but this is the stuff that goes on for professional footballers. You understand?
So like, I was a bit like, but then obviously my family was shook, and then to be fair, Fulham were like, oh, do you need security? And the owner was like, oh, he's like, if you need it. And I'm like, no, I'm good, man. Like, don't worry. Like, I don't think it's a serious thing. But then I think they actually found the person in the end or whatever. Like, they had some sort of like, they made some sort of connection, but then again, nothing happened. But I'm getting death threats, like, and they're saying they're going to kill me, my family. We're going to be hanging they're sending me, I swear to God, 4 people from a tree hanging, like, from back in the day. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's there for see,
this is sick.
But then it's like, there's the whole thing of like FT Twitter or something, football Twitter. You know the people that they have like a picture of a footballer and they have their name in the thing, and it's like a whole. I didn't even know it's a whole community. One guy messaged me, said, "I think I know who it is." And it was a grown man, and I'm like, "Bro, so what?" And he's like, "Yeah, we go around. It's like a whole thing to abuse players and people."
No lifers.
And
these people, they need to be checked. They need to be
profile.
medically assessed. Honestly,
It's a big man with 3 kids.
Medical assessment. They need it.
3 kids and that, and I'm like. So like, bro, what possesses you to do that? Do you know what I mean? I said, you got to like imagine someone abusing your kids. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause at the end of the day, every footballer, do you know what I mean? With someone's kids, family, blah blah blah. So like we understand there's a lot of pressure, but you want to just enjoy football and what you shouldn't be thinking about that kind of stuff. And it's all right. Like we know that abuse is gonna come. Like it's part and parcel of the game, but there's an element of crossing the line of.
If it's performance based, or you were poor today, or I thought you should have done better for the goal. It's fair enough.
Everyone can take that, like, and you can respect people for that, because obviously at the end of the day, football is a game of opinions, so people are gonna have it and whatever. But it's when they start, like, and it's like, all right, you're right, cool, whatever. But then certain lines keep getting crossed and crossed. And
at that time, where was your headspace? Because it's easy to say, you can take it on the chin. Obviously, you're a big you. I understand the thing, but surely, like it must have an impact on your mental sort of health
for real. Like it's annoying because then like you're constantly people asking questions about it.
What, as in, are you okay and that?
Are you okay? Then
it's a bit draining, and then people are, oh, this happened and then that happened, and then like it's a spiral effect, because then I swear to you, every game I was getting at least 20 messages of racism on my comments on my pictures, DMs, a lot, like, and it was just draining. And then I'm like, well, people are seeing that, family members are seeing it. and then it's like it's draining for them, and then people then ask, yeah, like, are you okay? Like, oh, like what's happening? Oh, what's the latest on this? What's the latest? And it's like it just becomes annoying. Do you know what I mean? And then you're just like you're drained, and then all of a sudden you start thinking everyone's racist. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, oh, every fan there was racist. Like, oh, that so and so. Like, you know, coming up for a picture or after the game or asking for a signature, you're like, you then don't want to trust no one.
So is it like anxiety kind of thing, like where you're like, oh.
Yeah. Or like Paro, just thinking, like, you the guy that's messaging me, like, should I really do it? Kind of.
I'm like trying to look at their pictures, like, I recognize. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, he looks familiar.
The bald head. This guy, was it him? Was it?
Like I was saying, you don't want to tarnish everyone with the same brush. Of course. Because you know what it's like, man. Negativity outweighs the positive stuff. Do you know what I mean? So like, definitely. You could have 10 positive messages, but you see 3, bro. That's sticking with you. Do you know what I mean? Like. That always seems to gain more traction. It's louder. Like the negative one stuff is always louder. Yeah.
So Cyrus, like in terms of the racism, it keeps rearing its ugly head. There's an event, then there's an outpour of them. This is bad. Club issues this sort of punishment or whatever. Would you be open to like starting like, I don't know, a Black Footballers Player Association? Because I was reading a column by Troy Deeney. So he done an interview with Neil Etheridge. And I think there was a game maybe last week or something where both of them were like racially abused. Like Troy Deeney said he looked up and I think someone made a racial slur and he's like, what did you say? Then the person said it again. Thinking like, oh my God. This man actually said that kind of thing. So I want to think about solutions because it's easy to do interviews. I was racially abused, this and that. Would you be open to starting like a Black Players Association where prominent Black footballers come and make their own union? Listen, I'm all for integration, everyone together as one. But in terms of sorting out racism, there's no end in sight in terms of how we're going to end this problem. So would you be open to like forming a coalition of players to like come together, have meetings and try and stamp this out?
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, but it's tough because then you need, like I say, you need the social media people to get on board. So the Twitters, the Facebook, the Instagram, whatever the social media platform is, but they're not doing nothing. So like even when I had my thing, it was like Twitter fell under some mad law, the freedom of speech in America, because their servers are based. So that's what their law is. Yeah. So they were like, well, we can't ban him for that, even though he's told he's gonna kill me and sent me. They were like, it was freedom of speech, and then they're it's wild. So if you don't keep the case open after like 30 days or something, the Twitter servers wipe. So there's no history of that unless you've got the screenshot. Yeah. But I just think that like within the FA, the PFA, I don't think there's enough representation of people from different backgrounds, different origins that can represent, because for me, you're looking up there, it's a middle class, upper class white guy. Well, like what have we got in common? Do you know what I mean? Like he doesn't understand because he's never seen the struggle that a lot of the players are coming from different backgrounds. They're coming from poverty or they're coming from a poorer background, and the people that we're seeing up there that they want to look up to, there's no connection to them. Do you know what I mean? So they don't really understand how they feel. We don't understand how they are. Do you know what I mean? So I just think they need more people up there that people can look up to and they can see themselves in themselves. Do you know what I mean?
I've been hearing this for the last 5 years and nothing's changed.
So they don't. Yeah, nothing's changing.
Should the players like build their own arm? Because again, players are well financially remunerated. Yeah. So maybe players come together, yourselves, Deeney's, Sterling. Again, as I said, I'm all for integration. Yeah. I think society is better as everyone on the same hymn tree. But we keep seeing these incidents. So how's it going to change? Would you be open to that?
Yeah, I'd say people would be open. It's just, But like I said, there's so much power within football from the other people that it's a hard task to achieve as well. So, yeah, man, the thing is we have to just keep pushing it. And a lot isn't going to change overnight. It's going to take a long time, I think. You can see it's getting worse and worse with the stuff. And maybe it feels worse now, maybe because of the social media, where so much stuff is getting highlighted, all the videos and whatever not that you're seeing. So, yeah, man, it's crazy. I don't know. It's one of them, innit? Like we can come together, but I think at the same time, there's only so much power that we as players can hold as well, because then you need the higher ups to be involved and to keep pushing the message and do a lot more. And like I said, I just think within football in general, in the higher ups, there's not enough representations of ourselves. Do you know what I mean? In there, where people like the likes of Ian Wright. Do you know what I mean? Like he's come from, did he make it 24 or something? Like, do you know what I mean? He come from a struggle, and then like you know what I mean? Because a lot of these kids, like I said, they're coming from the same place. So when you look up, you want to see that same representation of yourself.
You can't be what you can't see, kind of thing.
Yeah,
basically.
do you know what I mean? So like, yeah, I think that's what needs to change. I think there needs to be a lot more people up there that are with the people and for the people. Do you know what I mean? And they understand that the struggle that people have been through and whatever not. So yeah, man. But at the end of the day as well, a lot of them just see you as a commodity. So there's also that side.
I was gonna ask the last one on Fulham. You said you were a bit disappointed with yourself in terms of, I don't know, just how your career there petered out. What sort of things would you say you could have done better? Like, what was it? Was it you just, all right, I'm leaving, don't really care anymore? What really happened?
Yeah, no, it weren't never like, I'm leaving, I don't really care. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It weren't like that. Would never, because like I said before, like I'll never want to miss up another person's opportunity or like come in and be that guy where, because people obviously they've still got to train. I never want to be the bad egg. I will still want to be that guy that pushes people irrespective of my position.
True professional.
And also I don't want to let myself down as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even though I knew that obviously my time was done there, like I could understand and I knew that, but there was always that, I'm in the back of my, the opportunity's coming. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it did never come. Do you know what I mean? So I thought like coming off the back of like say Forest, I played 44 games. I was in a good place. I'd done well, and I'm coming back and I'm thinking I'm gonna get my opportunity here. And then obviously the new manager coming in or whatever. But yeah, it was just, man. Obviously at the time it was just obviously when basically I was training on my own. So like obviously I got banned from the training ground.
Banned?
Yeah.
When you say banned, can you explain? Because fans like, don't come here, or you're with the 23. Like, what does banned mean?
No, I wasn't allowed in the building till everyone left. They were going to provide me a coach to train with on my own.
And why is that?
Your guess is good. That's what I mean. But I didn't get no reasoning. Like, but like I said, like, when I spoke with him, like I just said, like, oh, like listen, I understand you have a decision to make. Just be honest with me. Like, I don't mind. I can take it like seriously.
Because you know what's I actually like heard from a player as well that, like, when the club wanted to force him out, they were like coming at 6 a.m.
Yeah, so for me it was like coming at 3. So when everyone had left the building, okay. You're allowed in at 3 when everyone's gone. So but like no physio, nothing. But like I'm not like cool, whatever. Like so, but the way it happened was crazy. So like he was then speaking to the physio. So one of the other guys that was a bit more senior. And you know when someone's talking about you, I kind of got the sense, and I was like, all right, whatever, man. So then I'm thinking, and they were like, so I'm going to go, and they're like, no, you're not allowed on the pitch. I said, what do you want me to do? It doesn't matter. Like, go in the gym. I said, do what? And, all right, we'll go home then. So I went home. Yeah, and I'm like, all right. So then they said, you need to come in for a double session tomorrow. And I said, all right. So why? And we don't know that. This is just a message I'm being passed on. So I'm like, okay, cool. Come in. And they're like, the guy was like, you're not meant to be in. Like, you're not allowed in. And then that's when I got told I'm not allowed in until after 3. And I was like, all right, fine. Like, so then I spoke and I said, like, listen, if you just tell me, do you know what I mean? Like, I can take it. I understand the situation and I understand you have a job to do. You got a team. And I said, like, that's fine. Like, I wasn't even angry. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, man, then that happened and then it was fine. And some days I'll be with the team and then some days I'll be on the other pitch on my own. Like, after that, I was back in.
So, like, were the players, like, asking, like, where's Cyrus? What's happening with Cyrus?
Yeah, like, people obviously messaging me, like, what's going on? And I was just like, yeah, but like I said, I came in every day happy. And I always thought, like, I could get my opportunity. Like, I always had to keep in my mind that I was working to something. But like I said, at Fulham, I just feel like, maybe I tried to prove a point to the wrong people. And maybe I tried too hard and things just weren't going right. It is what it is. And like I said, when it was going right, I was doing well, but then I wasn't given the opportunity to carry on and follow up and be consistent. So yeah, but like, yeah, it was just a crazy time, a crazy learning period. And I think a lot of people do go through that. Yeah, obviously I can't say some of the other stuff because I'm not allowed, but yeah.
Was there NDAs and stuff? Because I hear about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
NDAs.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, like, do you know what? Like, it's mad because obviously when people ask me, I'm like, I've got the utmost respect for Fulham and the manager, Marco, because as a footballer, unbelievable, like how he wanted to do things and do you know what, like, he was honest with me, do you know what I mean? So like, I respected it, and that's all you ask for, like, and there was that mutual ground of respect, and obviously when things I didn't feel like we had the conversation, we spoke, and he was fine. So I got nothing ever bad to say about him. But there's been other managers where,
what, the Scotty Parkers?
Like people like they just, do you know what I mean? It was just, bro, like just be honest, like just talk to me, like we can handle it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man.
So how is he as a man as well? Because again, we're fans. We see on the TV, we see that he can be a bit of emotional. Like after one of the Bournemouth games, we're under-equipped. He's like, he wears his heart on his sleeve. Even when you got promoted, I think there was a game. He gave like an interview to Sky. You could see how much it meant to him. He's emotional. But how is he as a man?
Yeah, we done well under him. Obviously,
I'm talking about your personal relationship with him.
I thought I had a good relationship with him, but then certain things happened, and it was just, and then like, it's crazy. I feel like it wasn't even bad what happened. Do you know what I mean? But at the time, I felt like he made it worse. Like, because when I spoke to, like, Bournemouth was the team that I spoke to, but he was the manager. And then it was like, everything could have been resurrected. It could have been, do you know what I mean? But, yeah, it just is what it is. It wasn't meant to be, but a bit emotional. Had a great career.
Oh, last summer, so before you joined home.
Yeah.
Okay, Bournemouth, okay.
So, yeah, like, obviously he's had a great career, done well. So, yeah, like I said, I don't really want to knock people. It's just, obviously, there's other, maybe different with other people are going to have opinions, but yeah, man, I just felt like you could have picked up the phone, or do you know what I mean? There was ways that it could have been, but I never had issues because it's time. Like, it was like 2 years ago.
Time
I'm not trying to hold no grudges, and yeah, like I said, at Fulham, I think that's what I learned about myself, man. Really, at Fulham, like, yeah, like I said, I went on a journey, man, really, and just. Yeah, man, just had to find that inner peace. I feel like that's what happened really I lost that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying I lost myself, obviously, because at the time as well, then, like, my daughter was born premature. Like, she had to come out because my missus nearly died. Do you know what I mean? So, like, there was that going on, and then obviously all the stuff that's happening at Fulham, and then you're trying to balance, it's like every day, and on my phone, I've got to shoot off, like, hospital. Do you know what I mean? Then she's in ICU. And you're like, oh, Jesus, man. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a scary time. And then obviously that going on. So then, yeah, man. And then, yeah, like I said, and then people don't realise that as well. Like, you got a lot of issues going on, like, outside of the club. And I think even, when I was at Fulham, obviously, there was a lot of stuff going on in, like, behind scenes, you know what I mean? Like, privately, not necessarily with the club, but with things. And it's just, yeah, it's crazy, man. And then, like I said, I think I allowed, like, other people in that club, like the fans or whoever it was, just to dictate how I felt, man. Do you know what I mean? And then I felt like I said, I think I was trying to prove a point, and I didn't really need to. I don't think.
The only person is yourself, basically, not other people.
Yeah.
Because when you allow other people, they're controlling your destiny or your happiness, kind of thing. So you perform. Oh, what are the fans saying? Oh, I still think I didn't do right. I need to be better. Whereas you need that inner sort of peace, kind of thing.
And then I think for that 6 months, obviously, when I wasn't playing before I went to Swansea, and that's where I kind of. Do you know what I mean? That's why I said I was disappointed in myself, because I kind of prided myself on that, like the mentality that I've had growing up, and I think that's always been one of my things. But then I think it just got to the point I wanted it to work so bad that it probably just backfired on me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like I said, then when I went to Swansea, man, it was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, and then that's when I realised, like, things are different. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've then started looking at everything on a whole different perspective, man. Life, the happiness, whatever it is, man. Yeah. And then that's when, like I said, that's when I realized, even though like I said, I'm 30, but you don't necessarily, when I look back on it, obviously when you're younger, it's a bit different. Your mentality is a bit different, but now 30, man, I'm seeing it completely different. And
so is it more so like, you know what, I love football, but at Fulham, this is like, oh my God, it's not working out. The manager, the fans, oh my God, this is everything. Whereas now, I love football. That's like, not that it's a job, I don't want to say it like that, but no, there's family, there's other factors that contribute. It's like a whole pie. Whereas the pie before was like 100% football, whereas now it's split up, kind of.
Yeah, like I think even at other like clubs, like, do you know what I mean? But I was always just me, do you know what I mean? I didn't have a family, I didn't have the missus, but then obviously like had issues, do you know what I mean? But like, I always felt that like stepping over the white line was my freedom. Do you know what I mean? That's where I was at peace, man. That's where I was happy. That's where I could be what I wanted to be. Do you know what I mean? But then that's what I follow my. Just want. I
just want clicking. Just wasn't meant.
Yeah, like, and obviously all the stuff like the message. Do you know what I mean? Because you see the messages, like it's hard to come away from. Like, so then when you're stepping on, you just think like, I was overthinking everything, any mistake, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's thingy, do you know what I mean? Like, and then I'm trying too hard, and then, like I said earlier on about like the comparison is the thief of joy, and that I start comparing myself to other people when I shouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone's different, and then that's what I've slowly learnt, man. And I try to tell people and that, like, you can't. Everyone's on their own journey, man. Everyone's different time and opportunities, like, and it just one of them. Yeah, it weren't meant to be, man. It could have been. Do you know what I mean? And from the time we were, but it didn't work out, and I just think, like I said, I went to Swansea, and then that kind of, man, it just.
So in terms of Fulham, obviously, like, so it can be a bit more positive. Like, they've had a mad season so far. They're doing their thing.
Yeah, man, unbelievable.
Yesterday, beating Brighton away from home. Yeah. Mitro scoring. You got the old stalwarts like Tim Ream, Tom Kearney, players that obviously you know. Like, so how is it like watching them? Because they've always sort of been labelled as this yo-yo team. Like, they swap places with Norwich. So Norwich get promoted Fulham. But this season, I can say 110% they're going to be staying in the... I think I can say that it's a fact, 100%. So, like, how is it watching that evolvement? Because watching it as a fan, as you mentioned before, they've learnt from previous regimes. Like, listen, it's not just about chop and change. These players got us up. Let's make 10 signings. It's more like 3-4 good players. Willian, experience. It's more thought out.
No, 100%, man. I think that's been key this year. But like I said, I watch all the Fulham games because I know I was there for so many years, man. 5 years, 4.5 years, whatever it was. And like I said, I loved the club. I loved being there. Do you know what I mean? In that sense, I know I've said what I've said in that, but I actually loved it there. Like, it was a good place. The boys were good. But it's just great to see them thriving in the Premier League, because I always thought that when we were there, like even this first season we got promoted, and then with Jokanovic and that, the lads were confident. We thought we were going to do so well because we had a good way of playing, but then there was a lot of chopping and changing, players coming in, and maybe people weren't happy and stuff like that. And it just didn't happen. But now, this time, like I said, they've kept the players that have been there, the core. They've added quality. And now they're thriving, man. And like I said, Marco Silva, good manager. The owner's unbelievable. Tony and Shahid, man. Like, great people as well. And it's mad. Like, I see there's so many similarities at Hull now. Like, the owner at Hull, Ajan, man. He's, like, fantastic. Like, he wants to know about your family. He speaks, like, do you know what I mean?
Also, do you have, like, a direct line of communication with the owner?
He comes to train all the time, and then, like, he invites boys up to his box to come with his family so he can introduce himself and he can speak to your family. And the same with the manager. He wants to know about your family, and it's just a good, like, community. And I think, like, at Fulham it was kind of the same with Tony, and, like, not necessarily the family. I think Ajan, I've never really seen it like this, like how he does it, him and his people, where they want to directly be involved and talk to you, and like, they'll do anything for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've not seen that at any other clubs, but like I said, Tony and Shahid at Fulham were the same. But like I said, it's great to just see so many boys at Fulham thriving. You know, the staff there are really good as well. The people behind the scenes do a lot of work, and I'm still close, obviously, like TC, Mitro, still speak to Tim.
What do you think about Mitrovic? Because before, people are, you can't do it in the Prem. This season, he's dispelled that. He's on fire. Because
you look at the first year when we went up, he still scored 12, 13. Do you know what I mean? And that you can't knock people for getting double figures in the Prem at a team that we was in a relegation scrap. Do you know what I mean? So, and then the second time round, he didn't play. Like, Scotty Parker didn't play him. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of have to get rid of that. And then this year, like, he's scoring again. I know he hasn't scored in a few games, but he brings so much to the team. He's such a good guy. Like,
how is he as a character? He looks so.
He's a big kid. He's a big kid, man. Like, he's the happiest man off the pitch. Like, he's such a nice guy. Like, I'm not got nothing bad to say about Mitro. Like, it's funny when people you go, but he's angry, but when he's on the pitch, he's angry. Do you know what I mean?
That's what you want.
Yeah,
that's what you want.
That's him. Like, that's him as a player. Like, because he's so strong. Like, he wants to bully people. But he brings something to him. Like, and I think people discredit his actual footballing ability as well sometimes, because he can come and link the play and bring people in and switch the play. And as a player, when you're playing with him, you know the ball's going to stick up there.
Yeah.
Even if he's got 2 men on him, and you can gamble off your runs. Do you know what I mean? That it's going to happen. And yeah, man, he's such a good guy. And look what he's done for Serbia, man. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? He's a record goal scorer. How many goals he scored in the calendar year is wild. So, but he puts in a lot of work. Like,
even in the off season, I saw like him doing like personal training.
He does all that. Leaner,
more athletic.
Does all that stuff. Yeah. Like, in training, like, he takes it easy. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so he's not a good trainer. Yeah.
Like, he takes it quite easy and that. Yeah. But then you see him doing the finishing after. But he just wants to score, man. Like, and like, even some of the players that I like play with in the strikers, and I talk about like Mitro, like, you can just see his willingness to score. And that's the difference sometimes. We don't like. I see some people in the training and they're doing their flicks and and they don't want to tap it in or put the keeper in the net. Like it has to be the perfect finish. Whereas Mitro, it doesn't matter how it goes in. Like a goal's a goal.
The cover off the ball.
Yeah, he's like celebrating and training and that. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's crazy. But I think for me, I've played with some good strikers, man, over my career. So yeah, man, I played with some good people. So I think like now, obviously, I'm at the stage in my career where at Hull, like, I'm the older. I think I'm the third oldest.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
only 30 as well.
Yeah. Like we got a young team, so like I think obviously I've got a lot of experience. I think I'm like what I think I just hit 470 games, man. Wow. Do you know what I mean? So I've been through a lot, man. Like and I think I've got a lot of like advice for them, and it's like I think this year has been a different role for me. Like I've had to, because usually I was like either the youngest or not the younger, middle group, like. Nothing like so you know what I mean. Whereas now I'm like the older statement. So I've had to do like a different role, man. It's like a daddy role, You know what I mean? So like, but like being a father myself, it's like, do you know what I mean? It does change your perspective. I know it's cliche and everyone says it, but it fully does, man. Like it changes the way your whole outlook on life, and like it's great. One of the lads asked me like, you enjoy being a dad, and I was like, yeah, bro, like, and I said like, it's genuinely they're the only person ever happy to see you.
Yeah.
When you come out, I swear to like when you see the smile and they come run up to you, like trying to hug you and that, like it takes away every pain, man. Like anything you're feeling, like it, and it helps you like switch off. And I think, like I said, I think that's what I was always good at, was being able to switch off from football when I got home, and even when I didn't have a child or I was on my own or whatever. So yeah, I thought that's what I was always good at, and that's why I was disappointed in myself, and I kind of because then I always was overthinking everything, and do you know what I mean? So yeah, man, like. Yeah, it's just it's been a different role that I've had to take on this year, man. I'm enjoying it, man.
Last one on Fulham before we move on to like Ireland. Like there's two youngsters that I'm sure I think you may have played with. Fabio Carvalho.
Fabio, yeah, man, player.
Harvey Elliot as well.
Yeah.
I know he made a few apps in the Prem before he left to Liverpool.
Yeah.
How good are they? Because we're Liverpool fans.
Oh, yeah.
So like, talk to us about them as players, people. Like, how are they?
Yeah, man, good kids, man. Like, and they had the arrogance, do you know what I mean? Like, not a bad arrogance. Way, the arrogance in a good way, where like they were confident in themselves, and I just think they're good lads. I know like Harvey had a few things where people like the videos and that, but it was a bit.
He's a kid.
Yeah, he's a kid, and I don't think that was really him. It's just he's made a mistake or whatever. But he was such a good lad, like so polite when he come up and training. I think he was only 15 when he was coming up. But I think he went up to one of the training sessions. I wasn't there. I was away on international duty, and apparently he just come up and drag step of a flip flap through someone's legs because obviously no one knew who the kid was, like, and then apparently he done something wild next time and even the defender was like, I was gonna clamp him, but he was like, after he done it the second time, we respected him. Do you know what I mean? He just had that aura and confidence about him. And same with Fabio, man. They knew they were good. Do you know what I mean? But they was able, like, obviously Elliot wasn't there, Harvey wasn't there for as long. Fabio, I saw a lot of him the way he grew, and then man, he was just. Yeah, he was like, man, different level. I felt like at the start of that season, it was like he was going to score every game, Fabio. Like, but his running off the ball, his ability on the ball, and obviously I think it's been a bit tough for him now at Liverpool. He's not playing, but he's going to grow as a player, man, and he's definitely going to be a top player. That's for sure.
How is he as a person, like individually? Interact with, like.
Yeah, no, I got on well with Fabio, man, like the young boys there, like they were so good, and Fabio was just, like I said, he was a good player. There's a lot of young good players there, but they was all good kids. There was nothing like, not one bad bone in their body. They was confident themselves. They just enjoyed life, man, and they, like, you could see it, and it's mad. It's so good to see, you know, like, just young boys thriving, and I think a lot of older players don't really like that, you know, where they see young boys and
he's a challenge, he's a threat to me.
Like that's one thing that confuses me in football, like. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be competition in your place or whatever, and it's like if you see people like if the young boy's going to make their debut, and it's like sometimes I've seen older players, they don't really want to talk to them or give them. It's like
they make it a bit hostile kind of thing because this is macho
like,
environment.
Bro, like you was in that position at one point. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the problem. Sometimes like people don't want to. I don't know, man. They just don't want to just don't want to help others. Do you know what I mean?
Every man for themselves.
And it's like. Yeah, it's crazy, but for me, man, when the young boys come in, because you see, like for me, I see them putting in the work, man, and I think, like, if I had someone when I was younger, like, some of the clubs I'd been at, like things could be a lot different. Like I would have learnt more quicker. Do you know what I mean? And it would have been an easier environment for me to come into, like, and do a lot more. Do you know what I mean? And not having to learn it on ourselves, like on our own and that. But yeah, it's crazy, man. But yeah, big players, man. And then they've definitely got bright futures anyway. Like,
we want them to do well. Yeah.
Well, I think people forget that though sometimes with young boys, man. You're going to be up and down. And
we've seen that with Rashford. Burst onto the scene, had a little bit, and now he's spiked again.
Yeah, so it's like, but I just, but I just always think like people.
Oh, he just scored.
Yeah,
wow.
Has he? Yeah. But I just think that people just need to let them thrive, man. There's obviously with football now, it's so judgmental and like you say, with all the things and people expect the world straight away from people, and it doesn't always work like that. And I just always think like if so many more people were positive to more people, like whether it be the fans or you just not get on their back, but just actually push them, because sometimes you need them to like lift you, to give you that extra 10% or whatever it might be, and that can like really push you through. And when everyone's on the same page, that's when you feel your best, or that's where you can push. But I just think now like so many people are too quick to write people off, and I think within football now, a lot of people don't actually have their own opinion.
Yeah, it's like, so I see this on Twitter. I run with this agenda. Like you internalize the view. Oh yeah, this.
And then they're scared to actually voice their real opinion.
If you hear like a pundit saying it, you're like, that's fact.
Yeah, it's like or if they disagree with what someone's saying, but like some people now have like, what is it? Yeah, some people have their opinion and they've got like a little fan base, and it's like, but then if you go against them, you're ostracized from.
It's like they call it echo chambers. So everyone's got the same opinion. He's right. The moment someone from outside the environment says, he's mad. What's he talking about, kind of thing. Yeah, like I say, like form your own opinion and stick to it about there. Like I think that's a big problem now. But yeah, man, it's what it is, isn't it? It just
I just had a very quick one. In terms of Hod, Malcom Ebiowei. Obviously, he's on loan for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
A player that's really caught my eye, was ripping up the champ last season. Obviously struggled for game time at Crystal Palace, but how's he been in the camp?
Yeah, man, he's good, man. He's a shy guy, like he's quiet,
he's
man.
A few words,
like he's quiet, but obviously I know he's got ability, man. He's come in and like I said, like people can't expect the world from him straight away. Like he's been injured. It's like, and it's tough for young boys coming into a new environment. He's coming away from being in London. Do you know what I mean?
Neck of the woods, South Bermondsey.
So he's coming from South London. He's coming up here, and like I said, Hull's a far place. Like, do you know what I mean?
Experienced that.
So like, and obviously there's not like much going on up here, and it's like it's probably a blessing as well, though. Do you know what I mean? Because you can actually just concentrate and focus on football. And I think Malcs is. I know his ability because we've seen it last year. I didn't know nothing about him last year, like, and then I see him come on the scene.
Derby, he was just doing a madness. Like Malcom Ebiowei.
Yeah, like we played, like Swansea, we played Derby. Like I said, I didn't know nothing about him. I started seeing his clips. I'm like,
before the game, before you're playing.
Thank God he's on the other side. It ain't me that's got to come up against him. But he was moving. He was good that game as well. And I was speaking to him about it like the other day, man. But like I said, he's another one of them. Like he's the player that he is. He's skillful and that's where you have to back people like that, because they're confidence players as well at the same time. And Malcs, man, he's come in and he's just he's building up his fitness and his sharpness, and it'll be big for us, definitely, like, because he's a man that can win you the game out of nowhere. Like you see it like last year, how he could dribble past 4 or 5 players, get in the box, and he's young as well. Do you know what I mean? 19. So like I said, it's tough coming away from home and coming out your comfort zone, and I'm sure he's going to embrace it, man. And he's, like I said, he's a good kid. Like, coming from Palace is obviously going to be tough. They've got quite a few good players, haven't they? Elise, Eze, Zaha. Like, do you know what I mean? So that was going to be tough. So if he can come here, do well, then, like I said, like, the future's bright for him, man. It
makes sense, because obviously Rosinha was at Derby, so knows him well. He's a shy lad, so he might not get him ticking. So hopefully it goes well. So I wanted to talk about Ireland briefly, because I know we've taken a lot of your time.
Nah,
and
you're
stuff
good,
like
man. Don't worry, man.
So, like, in terms of Ireland, like, where do you see yourself?
What, going?
In terms of, like, the standing, because I know there's Seamus Coleman. Not that you've been unlucky, but like that's probably the most well-stocked position in Ireland.
Yeah, of course.
Seamus Coleman, he's been like a legend, great servant of Everton and Ireland.
Unbelievable player, man. Yeah.
Doherty's gone to Atletico Madrid from Tottenham. And obviously there's yourself as well.
Of course, man.
So,
yeah.
I mean, so how has that been, sort of fighting that competition?
It's tough, man. I think like I've touched on before, it's just like obviously Shamey, unbelievable player. Evan, he's done so much. He's been at Everton, I don't know how long now. He's been Prem the last 10, 11, 12, however many years. Do you know what I mean? And he performs week in, week out. So that was
Scored
obviously
that cracker yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't even know he scored till I seen it earlier on the way here, man. Yeah,
Keeper
I didn't
was
actually.
a bit questionable.
Yeah,
To be fair,
man. It was a good finish, man. But yeah, Everton. I mean, Seamus, man, unbelievable player, unbelievable person as well. Do you know what I mean? Like proper leader, like just yeah. So that was. I always knew that anyway. It was going to be tough. Obviously, I played in other positions at Ireland, right wing, centre mid. Like it's been crazy, but then there was always, like I said, a lot of people then. It was always about you bringing in Docs and me being there, and I think obviously I played well when I played for Ireland, but then it was like crazy. I said like, but then me and Docs, it wasn't too long ago we was playing at the same level, and before that I was probably playing at a higher level than him as well. Do you know what I mean? So like in terms of the standings in the league, and then like I said, opportunity time in Wolves, you know, and he's flying. He's never looked back. He gets his move to Tottenham. Now he's at Atletico, so he's done me 10-0. So yeah, knocked me back down, because you know what I mean. Like, because as well, you think, oh well, like you're looking like, oh maybe I might get a chance here, like I might play, because obviously he wasn't playing. Do you know what I mean? But now he's got his move to Atletico, like like that branding,
you know the branding of Atletico.
Yeah,
Wow,
sent me to my funeral. So yeah, nah, man. But obviously, yeah, like no, they're two good players. It's such a good competition. I think we're all very different players as well. Do you know what I mean? We bring different things, I think, as well. Obviously, they play 5 at the back, 3. Like I'm comfortable playing on the right of a 3. I think that's my best position in general, to be honest. So, yeah, man. I just like I touched on it the other week. Like it's not if it was gonna like they were asking me if you get back in the Ireland setup or whatever, and that's not really been my thinking, to be honest. It's just that I want to just enjoy my football at Hull, and then. If I do well there, then everything else falls into place, man. You get that, and like I said, it's tough. Like ultimately, they're playing at bigger clubs than me. Like
so
there's
like
no
sometimes you like consider like there's some players they almost like retire early to prolong their club career.
Yeah,
is that something like potentially if like maybe in the next 1 year or 2 years there's been no call up? Is that something you will consider, or you're always focusing to get back into that team?
I mean, if I ain't getting no call-ups in 1 or 2 years, I probably don't even need to say nothing. You know what I mean? I may as well just stay quiet. But yeah, no, of course, like, I understand people do that. But I think some people do it for their fitness reasons and whatever. And like I said, I feel like my body's good, man. Like, I look after myself, and the amount of work I've put in over the years, like, that's what people don't see, man. Like, and that's what
hard graft.
I've always put in, I think, more than others. Like, I've invested in myself, man, because I thought that was the biggest thing I can do. So, yeah, man, I think I'm playing well, and maybe my, like you say, form warrant maybe getting called up, but like I'm not. That's what I'm not thinking about. I'm just trying to play well for Hull, and like I said, the opportunities will come if I'm playing well. Then it falls into place. But yeah, man, we'll see. It's not crossed my mind about, because I feel like there's things that I still wanna achieve for my country and with Ireland. And you know, I went to the Euros in 2016. I was the youngest player in the squad, and you know, and then it was tough because I'd come off being Young Player of the Year as well at Derby, and you know, obviously I was on the bench, but I didn't get any minutes. So it'd be lovely to go back and try and get to Euros, the World Cup playoff final. Do you know what I mean? It's still in the back, haunts me to this day. Do you know what I mean? Like, we were so close. So yeah, there's obviously things that you still want to achieve as a footballer and get to, and that'd be unbelievable, obviously, in my country. But like I said, if I can concentrate on myself and look after myself and see how it goes from there, man, definitely.
Yeah, one question I wanted to ask is, do you feel Irish? The reason why I asked that is that we've spoken previously about abuse. Oh, you're not from around there. Do you genuinely feel Irish the way people have made you feel, in terms of, okay, something goes wrong, it's Cyrus's fault, it's Callum Robertson's fault, it's So do you feel Irish?
Yeah, no, listen, I feel Irish. I feel like all of my backgrounds, I feel all of them. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, me going to Ireland, I'm close with my nan. Like I said, I live with her for a bit, and I'm very close with them. So, like, it was obviously such a joy for me to go there, and like I said, from the people, I felt welcome, and obviously Irish, I feel Jamaican, I feel my granddad's Lebanese, I feel, do you know what I mean? So I feel all the cultures within me, but yeah, I understand what you're saying, because I think at times, yeah, if my name was, or if I was a bit different, I felt like at times like people that were still born in England, but the white lads, they weren't getting harshest criticism.
No one was Harry Arter, all these.
Yeah, no one's ever saying, "Oh, fuck off back to London." Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. Like they weren't getting that. Like, but then it's fuck off back to Jamaica, or that kind of thing. And yeah, like I think obviously, yeah, in that sense, people like don't see it. So yeah, like I've always seen that and understood that. Like when I've seen it, like sometimes it's like, well, all the black lads are getting mentioned or whatever, but you're not saying about the other lads that are born in England at the same time.
People are just tapped, man. Yeah, honestly.
But like I said, you don't want to tarnish everyone with the same brush. It's only like few people think like that. But yeah, man, it's yeah, no, I do feel it. And like I said, I've got 30 caps, man. It's nothing to. I think that's a big achievement. Do you know what I mean? 30 caps, like but then there's also my element. I feel like I could have more. I probably should have had more. Yeah, top. Yeah.
Love for that.
Like I feel like maybe I should have had maybe more and could have got more. And yeah, like it's been tough. I think like sometimes I've been unfairly judged because of. I think from when Martin O'Neill put me in centre mid, I feel like I performed well when I was in there. I got man of the match, or whatever. It wasn't my decision to play with the managers. Like the manager saw something and I went with it, and that's what he wanted to do. And yeah, I think from then I kind of got like, obviously once he left, then like Mick McCoy, I don't want to put square pegs in round holes, and I was like, it's kind of maybe aimed at me. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And then I didn't really get called up. I think he called me up once, and that was like out of the blue because someone got injured. And I think there's been like a bit of a knock-on effect from that, and obviously, like I said, the World Cup playoff, and like. I know that was a bad day, like for everyone. Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's crazy. But like I said, there's a lot I want to still achieve with the country, and it's not something I want to turn my back on. People probably want me to. Some people, you know what I mean. That's the nature of the game. But yeah, like man, I just like I said, if I can keep playing well for Hull and keep performing, I feel like I'm doing well and I'm performing well. And like I said, if you do that, everything falls into place, man. And like I said, for the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been since I went to Swansea, like everything's felt right, man. It's just clicked. And like I said, I can't disjudge them. I had great times at Fulham. Then Fabio, there was so much positive, and obviously there was some negative stuff. But like I said, that was a part of my journey. That's what's meant to be, man. And I like I said, I'm not one of them that sits back and thinks, oh, what could have been? Do you know what I mean? Or blah blah. It's just I don't really think like that, man. I just because like I said, that's what I learnt, man. Like, I've done a lot of not even soul searching. Do you know what I mean? Just trying to learn things and and like that's really where it all come out. I had to just look at myself and retrace the steps really, and just see like what did go wrong and what could have done better, and find out. Yeah, man. So like like I said, I learned a lot in that time, and that was all meant to be part of my journey, man. And my journey's still going, man. I've got a lot to give. Definitely, man.
You've been fantastic.
We don't want to take up too much of your time. It's like an hour, 30 minutes.
Man, you're good, man.
Yeah, obviously, we just want to quickly touch on life outside of football.
Yeah, man.
What do you like getting up to? See that you're into your fashion with the white drip.
No, you know, outside of football, really, I just like chilling, man. Yeah, like in the summer I play like golf and that. I find it peaceful. I know some people find it angry, but I actually find it peaceful.
What, so this summer, Gareth Bell,
yeah,
he's retired.
Don't play as much now with the baby and that, but yeah, man. I don't know, man. Just chilling, family, getting away, switching off. Even just little things, Netflix, whatever it might be. I don't know, man. It's a tough one. Like obviously, when I was young, PlayStation and that. It's like all them kind of things. But yeah, man, like golf. I like watching like other sports and that.
Okay. What sports are you into?
I like basketball and I like NFL and the boxing. Okay. They're the main ones I like watching, really. But like for me, like I'd love to go around and look at other teams and how they think and like the managers and how they see things. You know what I mean? And what they do. Like I'm into like the mind state stuff as well, man. Like all that kind of stuff. And
I was thinking coaching when you're like, because that's what managers do. They go to like rugby and see how do they set up. And
I'd love to see like the mindset behind that kind of stuff. I'm really interested. I read a lot of books on that kind of stuff and videos and watch that on like YouTube. Like different people and how they've kind of got to where they are. Do you know what I mean? And what they took. Because like I said, I touched on it earlier. Like I always think that someone's got something to give. You can learn from everyone. Do you know what I mean? So there's that. Yeah, really. That's the kind of stuff I like, man. Natural stuff as well. I'm really got into that over the last few years as well. Like just the herbal stuff and the natural remedies and things like that, man. And just just I don't know how
living a peaceful life.
Peaceful, man. Yeah, because I'm really into like it's crazy, like Greg Doherty with Aspie and stuff, man. I'm really into like, so I've got like samurais tattooed on me and stuff. Okay. So I'm really into like the samurais and like the monks, how they, that kind of stuff, man. Like
Shetty, that's a monk. And
I've listened. I've not really listened to him, but yeah, I know who you're on about. But yeah, man, I just finished the book on like the original like samurai. Like a book on how he, man, I'm into that kind of stuff. Just man, just But I think that's kind of where I found my peace, really, and like I think I've changed a lot, man. Even if you ask Mika, like Mika thinks I've changed a lot since obviously I've known him from Fulham to now, man. So I think, man, it's definitely helped me, definitely a lot.
So in terms of like, I always like asking footballers about investment side of things, because you always hear sort of like stories about footballers like, let's say 5-6 years ago, they're at this height and now they're sort of broke. So do you do any things to protect your money, like property or any investments and stuff like that?
No, I've got properties that they've like rented out. So I've got them. Obviously I've got my main house in Surrey, which obviously I'm not living in at the minute, so I've got someone in there as well. But yeah, I've got like the financial advisors and they put money into stuff, but I'm not really one to like risking too much, because everyone goes on about, I see all these videos now, like people sell people the dreams on like the TikToks and that, you can get this house, we put 5% down.
Rags to riches, story,
that's not reality. It's not reality, man.
Schemes.
Like it's not reality, man. Like I see one video the other day about people do this, and then it's like,
it's marketing.
Living.
What I've noticed, these people that said they don't actually do the things themselves. So they're just selling you the idea. So once you give them the money, that's where they're making the income. So they're not making the money from the property or the business. That they
so that's like a Ponzi.
Ponzi scheme.
It's like 5% down. It's like live in your house for 2 years, then rent it out and buy another one. And it's like in this economic structure, man. Like
everyone will be rich.
People can't do that. People can't afford it, man. Like people, and that's what it is now. People are sensing that little opportunity to con people out of their money and
exploitation.
So like, I'm pretty safe with my money, really. Like it's all just been, like I said, geared up to me having like my forever home, which I've got. Do you know what I mean? Making sure now, obviously, like the kids, the set and stuff, and that's it really. Like, there's obviously things that I wanna do once I finish football, even like now. Do you know what I mean? And get it up and running and things like that, man. I've always got ideas and different things, but I don't really know what I want to do after football. So it's like,
so have you started thinking about it yet? Because you still got a good few years.
Still
young.
Yeah.
You look after yourself as well. Because people, I don't know why, people say, once you turn 30, but if you look after yourself, you have 5-6 years.
You're feeling better than ever. Ever since you
turned 30. This guy, because he's a bit younger than me. You've only got 2 more months, so stop going on, bro.
Start creaking up a bit. Man. I not really thought, like, obviously, like I said, the manager keeps going on to me about doing the coaching stuff and that. Like, he thinks I'll be good at that. Obviously, that's a possibility, but it's never really been a thing for me, I don't think. I've never thought about it, but, like, it'd be good to have them. And then, because you never know, man. Yeah, like, because obviously over the, like I said, over the years, like, I'm growing and evolving, man. So, it's like, I don't mind it. But, yeah, I mean, I don't really know, man. Like, in lockdown, I done like a course. I never finished it, to be fair. I should have finished it. I was meant to go back and do it, so it's like then another 2 years. But I done the first part of it. I think it was like a master's in sports management and something.
Administration or?
No, I wasn't administration. Marketing, so it's like you can become like a CEO and chief exec of like clubs and stuff like that. Yeah. So I actually done that while I was in lockdown. Done the first part. I got the thing, but then it was like you have to do it for another 2 years. But then, no, it wasn't that. It was I didn't know if I wanted to do it with that institute. So it was like the Sports Barcelona Institute or something like that. Yeah. So then I thought, maybe there might be one where you can do it in England. So, but yeah, that's obviously I've got the first part of that. So if I ever need to go back and finish it off, I could. Yeah, coaching's like, I don't know, man. That's $1 million question, isn't it? Really?
Well, do you fancy some influencer boxing? Because we're seeing all these.
That's a farce, isn't it? That's a farce.
It's too much work, man. You know what it is? Yeah, I always think that like people, you see them people do marathons and that when they finish. I think that's the last thing on my mind when I retire. I think like I'm not gonna get fat. I think I'll always keep myself in shape, but having to train for them boxing matches and
it's not it, man.
Yeah, like sometimes I do boxing now, man, and then after like 6 rounds, I'm dead. Yeah, it's a different level. Like my arms are killing, my wrists and that. Like it's a different level. But yeah, man, there's a lot of things that I think that I want to do. Like I said, I'm into a lot of like the natural herbal stuff and that, and I got a guy that I speak with all the time. He's been doing it for 15 years. So I'm into that kind of stuff, man. Just
even how Robson Carnu, he's got like a turmeric company. I know it's natural. Like very, very nice guy. We met him a couple of weeks ago. He's cool. I think I'm a person that wants to help people, man. So like I said, the guy that I know, he does a lot of stuff, especially for kids with autism and things like. Because that's how he started his journey. So he gives it out for free. So obviously, maybe do a lot of stuff with him, and I think there's a lot of things out there, man, to do, man. But even saying that, like, I know you're involved with a lot of charities, like Soup Kitchen in Brixton, Knocked Out There. You give a lot back. So talk to us about like why you do it and sort of the initiatives that you do.
Yeah, man, it's just from growing up, like the way it was as people and the things that I've saw, man. And then, like I said, my mum works in the school. She's like head of pastoral. I don't know, they change names all the time. So obviously there's kids there that are always struggling now. Even my like sister now, she's working in the school, and obviously I've got my foundation. That's it. But it's such a hard process. Like it's been quite quiet now for like the last year and a half, just trying to get everything sorted properly. So when I get into that, I want to obviously, once that's up and running, want to have that as it's like I think for a lot of the kids, like I said, they don't relate to maybe their teachers and things. So if you can bring something in that they're interested in and evolve it around maybe a sport or whatever that, and obviously with their thing side, and I just think that there's so many, just being able to give them a platform, because I think a lot of us it's like, you have to be a sports person or a musician or whatever it might be. Like you want to show them that, well, that might not be their direction that they want to go in, and there's other things that you can do. So you might want to be a photographer or a videographer or whatever, or they might be a lawyer, whatever it is, like just to at least give them the platform. So we want to create like workshops so they can see that, well, all right, so-and-so's come from that same background. He's a lawyer, or he's a solicitor, or he's whatever, and it's like something that all of a sudden they might be interested in it. So it's just creating that platform to show that there's other opportunities out there, rather than having to be the footballer or the athlete or the musician, or it's the other option is like jail and being in gangs or drugs or whatever. So cause I feel like that's a lot of them, that's really the only options, because they're the only people they're seeing. It's the footballers, and so like the musicians or whatever, they're their real influences around them. And if you can put them onto a level where they can see that possibilities are endless for them, and that is not their journey that they just have to go on, that they can do a lot more than just that, man. So that's what we're aiming for, trying to work for. But this foundation process is long, man, like the paperwork and getting everything right, it's crazy. So we've been a bit quiet on that front, but like obviously we're still doing things and helping people. So man, it's been good. But hopefully we've got a few more things to come, and hopefully it gets sorted soon, man.
I saw something that you're also trying to start something with Callum Wilson, obviously the Newcastle striker. He's a close friend of yours from your time at Coventry. Is that true that you're starting like maybe like a foundation to find the next sports star? Or
do you know what we actually discussed? Like we was looking at doing a football like foundation academy kind of thing, but man, in this game, man, some people just try to take liberties, man, and that's for a lot of money and a different thing. And that's the thing, man. I always think you just got to surround yourself with the right people, because a lot of people they're vultures, man.
Charlatans, cowboys.
Exactly, man.
What do they call it? Snakeskin salesman or
I
something?
mean, like me and Ken ain't stupid, you know what I mean? So like, we wanted to do it, but then we just felt like too many people were benefiting from it. Do you know what I mean? And they're like, and they had nothing to lose. It was all on us. So, yeah, man. I mean, obviously, like I was best man at his wedding. Do you know what I mean? So me and Caleb, we come up from young, man. We only lived 3 blocks away from each other. Where it was like we was close growing up, and I went to a game the other day. I was up there as well. Don't know if I'll go to the final next week, man.
Well, why, United fan or?
Nah, man, I'm an Arsenal fan, man. Yeah. So, nah, man, I just went to watch him, man, just because we didn't have a game on it. Because I try and get to his games, but obviously we always clashed, you know what I mean? And I missed a few, so I wanted to go up there and watch. I managed to get to the semi-final game against Southampton. I don't know if I'll go Wembley. I don't know if I can. The journey, man. Doing the journey.
I can see that you're an Arsenal fan when you were panicking when I said Rashford scored. Right?
No, man. Do you know what? I don't really like. Obviously, I was an Arsenal fan, like big growing up, but from when now I play, it's just it just is what it is. Yeah. Like so, yeah, man. Like I said, there's a lot of things that potentially and hopefully I can do, man. So we just see how it goes, man. See how it goes.
Yeah, so speaking of best man, we've introduced a new segment on this podcast where we ask our guests to help us, should I say, get a potential guest in the future. And we're going to be putting you under pressure on Instagram, so you have to get back to us.
No, we haven't even take his number.
So who would you say is the best fit? Obviously, you've experienced the platform in terms of like who you know in football for this sort of platform. Does that make sense? So who's like the best fit for this podcast? Yeah, as a guest.
Yeah, like a player, coach, someone within football.
Player, coach, boy.
Sorry for putting you on the spot.
Yeah, man.
It's a bit of
and we're not accepting. I'll tell you later. We're not people are pulling that one and they're going.
And people are getting on to us like, oh, you guys said you're gonna. Where's this person? He ain't come on yet. You get what I mean? So yeah.
I guess it depends what you wanna hear as well. Obviously, like some people don't like doing it. But in terms of that, I think either going down like the manager front. I think the gaffer now that I have, Liam Rossinho.
Yeah, he's a good talker.
I think he's been one of the one of the best managers, coaches that I've worked with. Just for his whole general knowledge of football and how he sees things. Yeah. Because he loves, like, he's the only person I've heard say, I wanted to be a manager, not a footballer. I've never heard, he always wanted, so, like, in terms of that, like, even Russell Martin, the way, because obviously he's got a mad philosophy of how he plays. But, like, player-wise, trying to think, like, interesting characters, man. I've played with a few. Do you know who's interested? Mika Siri.
Yeah, bro.
He
was mad because he was meant to go to like Barca before he went Fulham. There was like, I loved it.
Like
is he good English and
stuff?
No,
he's got a good English. He's a good guy, man. He's got a lot of knowledge, man.
Would love to talk to him.
He's
Come
like
back here.
proper religious as well. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
like he's interesting. Like when you speak to him, I'm just trying to think who else there is. Obviously, Cal's had a mad journey as well. Like he had so many injuries in there, like the youth team.
Underrated, man.
Very.
He should be a regular England international.
Yeah. Like he obviously brings a different side to the thing, but obviously he's had a crazy journey. Obviously, like younger, and he was injured all the time because he wasn't even one of our main strikers, like in the youth team, really, because he was injured. Like you had Sean Jeffers, that was probably ahead of him. I think he's at St Albans now. He's obviously scoring a lot of goals. It was like maybe him, and then obviously, and then Callum just. Once his injuries come, he blew up, man. Yeah, he went from strength to strength. But Cal's got confidence, so, man, in himself. Like, you know, when anyone's got confidence, he can say anything he wants and laugh. He's got the laugh on point, so he laughs after everything he says. It's a dirty laugh as well. There's been some good players that I've played with, man.
I think that's enough. You've given us enough.
So we'll be following up on the one. Don't ghost us, man.
I don't know. I might struggle to get them on, but
love, man. We appreciate it. It's been a pleasure, bro. Thank you for being open.
No worries, man.
Love your journey, and we're a big fan of you, man. So
cheers, man. Thank
love
you
for that, bro.
No, love, bro. Again, you've been completely open with us.
Yeah.
The time's just whizzed through, but obviously it's
man.
like 1 hour 44. You got
it's been a mad one.
So we appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, no
Enjoy
worries,
your
man.
evening with
All
the
good,
fam
man.
as well.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Cool.
Thanks for
We're going to
coming,
leave
man.
it there. That's another episode of the Beautiful Game podcast. Until next time.
And
over and out.
Someone will have an opportunity to win the Cyrus
Best
Christie
comment below.
shirt. So yeah, best comment below will be winning the Island shirt. So yeah.
Love. We're going to leave it there. Peace.
Nice one, man. Thank you.